Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is a happy Monday, April 26th, and we hope all is doing well because there's green in the seas of cryptocurrency today. As CJ pointed out before we went live, we're at an all-time high for the last 10 days, which, we'll grasp to anything, but it's looking good, and that's going to make a lot of people happy. I'm here with CJ and Monty, crypto analysts from marketrebellion.com. We thank you for joining us. Ryan is out today. I don't know. I didn't ask HR what that was about. But let's, we actually, CJ, we have to do this again on our own. I did it with Monty last time, but we have the whole legal thing, the ads. Do you want to do it? Can you run the whole show?
Not the whole show, but I need your guys' help, of course. But the boring parts, I guess I'll knock out right here. And anything said today by Trade the Chain or its constituents at Market Rebellion should not be considered financial advice. This is for educational and informational purposes only. As Ryan likes to say, do not listen to us. Trade the Chain is also brought to you by Trade the Chain, an AI-driven sentiment indicator dashboard and actionable alerts to help you beat the market. Also comes with a community of Discord participants all throughout the world, with lots of traders sharing their victories and defeats. Make sure you check out Trade the Chain for a 14-day free trial to see if you like it. I think you definitely will. And then moving over to marketrebellion.com/crypto. This is Monty and myself and our community at Market Rebellion. And with us, you get exclusive trade ideas on a weekly basis, access to our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. If you're serious about trading crypto, this is a great service that you can use to get started. And you can try your first month trial for just $1 at marketrebellion.com/crypto. We also have a mobile app as well. So we really appreciate that, guys. Going over here to the coin screener, actually, before we get into the markets, any thoughts as we open up here?
Hey, that was a great intro, CJ. You nailed it, brother.
Yeah. Well,
I can't tell if that's sarcastic or not, but
no, it was good. It's good. You should have seen Alex and I trying to fumble through it on Friday. It was not as good as that. So well done.
It was horrible, man. It was horrible. No, a couple things. Really excited for all of us to be together. Mentioned in the past, mentioned again down at Bitcoin 2021 conference the first week of June, 4th and 5th, I believe that is, and we have a discount code down below in the description for anybody who wants to join us and see us in person. I don't know who does, but in case. But that's about it. What about you guys? Any fun guests coming up on your cocktail hours or AMAs? Anything?
One thing we got coming up, we're dropping a new DeFi course this weekend on the 30th. So just a general introduction to DeFi. A lot of our members had been asking, just for some information on the sector, some plays you can make within that sector, and just kind of the general infrastructure of the space. So that will be dropping Friday. But yeah, other than that, just excited to be having a little bit of bullish price action today. It was a long week last week.
It was a really long week, and if you notice, the weeks that are in the red it's like 3 times as long as any of the green days. But definitely looking forward to that DeFi course, because that's probably one of the biggest enigmas to any of the average folks out there is DeFi. So all the information we can gather about it is good stuff, man. So thanks.
Monty's also coming off the creation of an NFT course. That one's free and accessible at the Market Rebellion YouTube channel. Make sure to check that out. But we're going to be trying to drop courses on a monthly basis, whether they be covering DeFi, various topical items, or actual technical analysis. Looking over here to the Trade the Chain dashboard, looks like we got bearish hourly sentiment, but still long-term bullish across the board, especially as we go into this rally today. So interesting that we're seeing some bearish sentiment on the short term.
What are we seeing on the just quick, since you got the page up, the 1 hour? What are we who's at the top of the 1 hour projection for positive sentiment? Oh, Origin Trail. Okay, interesting.
Man, I've been seeing Pirate Chain up there for like a week straight.
Arr.
This thing's-
A lot of people, a lot of people got into Pirate Chain, made out pretty well. So I think that's made a couple of happy faces around the community. I don't know what to say after that.
I'm just laughing at the meme. Like Monty mentioned here at the start of the program, beautiful bullish engulfing candle at the bottom of the downtrend here. This leads me to be very optimistic. What I want to highlight and what I've been alluding to a lot previously have been these bullish engulfing candles at the bottom of downtrends. I'll highlight them once again. But the reason why I think this is a really big deal is we were hoping for one of these bullish engulfing candles or one of these real bullish signals last week, when we were first entering oversold territory on both the stochastic and the CCI. And we got a hammer candle on this red 4, I'll zoom in for you guys, but it just wasn't enough. There was like a lot of bad news that followed with the tax implications that were proposed. But the market at this particular point was just holding its breath. It wasn't ready to jump in and create a nice bullish engulfing candle. Then we pursued downward for the next couple days and finally hit that TD by 9. We did this on declining volume, which is nice. Anytime you have declining volume on a trend towards a 9, whether it be positive or negative, that's typically the end, or at least an indication that it might possibly be the end of the trend. And the fact that we have confirmation in a massive green engulfing candle following that leads me to believe that this could be the bottom of the recent downtrend and that we are on our way to new highs. Now, we still have some resistance levels at 55K, but I am going to be bullish as a result of this for the short term and interim. Now, one thing I do want to mention here on the weekly chart is that we did find some pretty nice Fibonacci support at roughly 48K. So this level is still holding in terms of the macro trend. And it seems like we've had some nice macro pullbacks here to the point in which the trend can actually recycle out some of those bad longs. So from a technical perspective, really liking what we're seeing at the start of the week here, and leads me to believe that we're probably going to be bullish for the next couple of days.
Yeah, CJ, I agree with you. The technicals are looking great. And I just want to get back to one thing that I was talking about on Friday. And it's not too much to add, but I was talking on Friday about these two candles right here, this 8 and the 9. Like CJ mentioned, a 9 candle at the bottom of a trend is typically indicative of a reversal, right? But that in combination with the fact that these two candles right here are, bullish hammer candles, that for me was an indication that a reversal was imminent. Now, it was an interesting weekend, right? Because we had this hammer candle here that had a lot of people thinking, we might reverse around the 50K level. But on this 9 candle, we actually wicked all the way down into the 47K range. And that was concerning for a lot of people. I know a lot of people, even within our community, we're getting a bit nervous right here. But that's why I think it's so important to wait for, confirmation from the next bullish candle. I think entering on this 9 candle was a bit of a risky play. It obviously was very profitable today. But now that we've gotten this confirmation of this bullish engulfing candle, like CJ pointed out, there's such great reason to believe that we are headed to retest this level up here at around 62K. Like he pointed out, every time we've seen this similar formation of a hammer candle followed by a bullish engulfing candle, we get some pretty strong bullish price action. And that's exactly what I'm expecting here this week. So, I still think Bitcoin's a good buy at this price. We're just getting started at the, start of this next trend. And don't be discouraged if we do see something like we saw back here at the end of February, where we do kind of get this boost and then see a little bit of sideways price action, maybe even a little bit of bearish price action before going very positive. So I like what we're seeing technically. There's good historical precedent to believe that we're headed in the right direction. And, I think that this price action is going to spill over into a lot of the alts as well. So there's a ton of plays to make in this market currently. And I'm expecting a very strong week for the crypto market.
Interesting. Now, do you think that we are going to keep proceeding into the new month on a bullish trajectory? Because a lot of people, especially a lot of people who haven't been through the previous cycle, the middle of last week, we're legit getting worried, right? So you have some, let's call it novice or beginner traders, and they're like, well, is this the end of the bull cycle? We keep watching everybody on YouTube and everywhere else saying, wow, this thing's going to ride till the end of the year. Are you all wrong? So let's call it midterm. Let's call it the next, 30 to 90 days out. Where do you guys see us going? What's your gut telling you?
Yeah, that's a good question. That really is the $1 million question. And I still stand by my macro thesis that by the end of this market cycle, by the end of, this year, I'm thinking into October, November, I think we can be above 75K, approaching the 100K range. And, I think this was really important this week because there are a lot of factors that drove this price down. And this was really kind of the first test of, traders' mettle so far in 2021. There's a term in boxing called like an acid test when an up and coming prospect gets their first, real test of their mettle. And I feel like this was exactly that for crypto traders that have entered the market in 2021. I mean, hodling has been very profitable historically because it's not easy to do. When you get a week of price action like we saw last week, where, there are some times where even I was sweating a little bit because, when all those longs got liquidated and we wicked all the way down to like 50K, that was concerning. But I think it's necessary to shake out the weak hands, to shake out those levered longs, and the people that can, not only hold throughout this, but also have the conviction to buy this dip. Those are the traders that will benefit from staying in this market long term. So for me, nothing has really changed in the long term. I still think that, even by the end of this month, we'll be back above 60K. But yeah, I think this was just kind of an anomalous week. We got a little bit ahead of ourselves in terms of price action, and the whales made some traders pay for that. But it's perfectly healthy, and I still stand by my 100K price target by end of year.
That's a little conservative, don't you say? Alex, I like that you bring up the macro trend because I think all the points Monty makes are great. In terms of sentiment, like, I don't know if you guys saw Scott Melker, the Wolf of Wall Street's tweet earlier today. He retweeted comments on a previous, let me just say this before I get into the chart. I'm not going to bring the comments up here because they're a little illicit, but they were people yelling at him for his, technical analysis that, I didn't plan out, I guess. He was talking about a bullish divergence in the RSI. And the fact that you see that sentiment, I mean, we don't see great sentiment on Twitter all the time. People definitely like to criticize. But to see that really shows you where those newer traders or possibly those novice traders are coming in from. Because if you've been in the space for a while, you know that nothing fundamentally has changed. But that downtrend really scared a lot of people, as well as the news about the possible tax implications. But this is a classic chart of Bitcoin, and if we look at the last cycle, you can see that this middle Bollinger Band has acted as great support throughout the entire uptrend of 2016 and 2017. And in terms of our previous retrace, we didn't go perfectly to the moving average or that middle Bollinger Band, but we came very, very close enough for me to confirm that this has been a sufficient pullback and is ultimately likely going to be healthy for the macro trend.
Interesting. Now let's talk about traditional equity stocks exposed to crypto. How's our good old friend Coinbase doing? It was interesting because last week we had, whether it was Coinbase, whether it was Riot, whether it was Bit Digital, Voyager, etc., there was relatively positive market movements on those stocks the last couple of days. And so that was interesting to see that pan out that way. But I definitely want to hear your thoughts, CJ, on those crypto exposed equities.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of them. And Kathy Wood,
That's your favorite. That's your favorite gal. You bring her up as examples all the time.
Well, it's because she's been right, and she is amazing at thematic investing when it comes to innovation. And she's been right on Bitcoin all along. She was completely right on Tesla, and she's buying Coinbase. That's not a great weekly chart, but these last couple of days on Friday and today, we're up a little bit, up about 3% on Coinbase. There's not a lot of price data to really analyze technicals, but it's very interesting, and we're going to continue to watch Coinbase. I'm honestly pretty bullish. But let's take a look at the one-day chart and a lot of these blockchain related stocks, because many of them have come down to their levels of about, I'm going to guess, around a 50 to 60% correction. So yeah, this one has been about, Riot has corrected about 57% from its top. Mara has corrected about, let's see, over 50%. MicroStrategy is an easy 50 or possibly even 60% decline. Yeah, so all of those, last one, Silvergate, let's check out. So it wicked down to over 50%, but it closed at a roughly 43% decrease in Silvergate. But this is another one that's looking very nice compared to Bitcoin's relative price action lately. Remember yesterday on the daily chart for Bitcoin, we had that TD buy 9, followed by a massive green engulfing candle the following day. Trading View is not letting me draw.
That was great art. I didn't know where you were going with that sketch, but it was looking good.
I was trying to draw an engulfing candle, and it was just all curved and not looking right. So I'm bullish. I think a lot of these have sufficiently come down after that parabolic move. So we'll see. I'm hoping for some type of sideways consolidation, somewhat like a widening mouth pattern. But I'd like to hear Monty's thoughts as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, all we really have to go off of is, historical correlation with Bitcoin. And if we go back to our analysis on Bitcoin, we seem to both believe that it's going to have, a relatively bullish week based on the technicals. And I think there's good reason to believe that a lot of these traditional equities will also have a good week if Bitcoin does. Obviously a lot of it is contingent on the direction of price of Bitcoin. But I think, based on the technicals we laid out, based on, a bit of an improvement in sentiment based on, just last week alone, I think there's good reason to believe that Bitcoin can run up to levels above 60K. And if that does happen, I definitely expect a lot of those traditional equities like Riot, like Mara, like Silvergate, and even Coinbase to, explode to the upside. Coinbase is a little bit different because it, is so new to the market. It's kind of in a stage of price discovery. But I mean, what we've seen with Riot and Mara is, beta that's even higher than that of Bitcoin. And I think if Bitcoin does make a run up like we're expecting, we can expect to see Riot and Mara, take back a little bit of those losses that they gave back from their all-time highs. But I think the big question mark is Coinbase, because, like I said, that one's really in a price discovery mode, and it's been, particularly volatile on the weekly chart. And it's just hard to say exactly where this one goes. But the thing I keep coming back to is the fact that, it kind of opens up an avenue of new exposure for these institutional investors that don't necessarily want to invest directly in crypto. Right now, so much of these traditional equities that we've mentioned are focused on the mining sector. I think Coinbase really opens up investors like Kathy Wood to a whole new sector of cryptocurrency, beyond just Bitcoin, but and also beyond just the mining sector, also into the exchange sector. And it's a really interesting play, and I'm long-term bullish on it, but I think in the short term, we can expect some serious volatility.
Are you guys buying Coinbase stock?
Well, hold on. That was the question I was going to ask. I mean, what people want to know, are we in a buying territory, or do you guys feel that we're overvalued in the majority of these things? Where's your mindset when it comes to that?
I think that Monty and I were talking about this too. Like, it seemed in retrospect like very obvious, but I mean, I didn't realize it at the time that the actual Coinbase direct listing that Wednesday was nearly the high for last week. We came down afterwards and we had a ton of excitement in the market. I had people texting me who weren't involved in crypto wanting advice on whether or not they should buy the Coinbase IPO. That's always, not always, but it is definitely a red flag to me. I'm sure you guys have somewhat similar instances and experiences in your own personal lives. But now I think we're at a point that excitement has withered away and we're in the mode now for authentic increases in price action.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, CJ. Sorry to interrupt you, Alex, but
No.
I mean, that's such a good point. I had people text me too that really don't know anything about crypto, and that definitely is a red flag. So although I'm not rushing to buy Coinbase right now, I think after we do start to see some of that authentic growth that CJ just mentioned, I think this thing could become a really good buy. But going back to Riot and Mara, I think those are more positioned to, have a very bullish week if Bitcoin does immediately. Whereas Coinbase, I still think it's looking for that authentic growth that CJ mentioned. And once it does get that, I would be a bit more comfortable entering a long position.
Do you guys see Coinbase at 1,000? I'm here to ask the hard questions, guys. All right.
Sure, eventually. I mean, Ryan said a loaf of bread's going to 1,000. So,
all right.
Can we take a look at Riot?
Sure.
So we're above that key resistance level from TD support. I am long Riot calls currently. I just wanted to disclose that, but we are starting to see a tick up in price action. So like Monty said, I think the miners are going to follow Bitcoin if we continue to press onward toward 55K or potentially 60K.
Yeah. All right. Up next, basic attention token, the BAT. Let's get to it, man. You guys came out today with your little presentation on it, your little summary on it. Let's talk it over.
Yes. So I published this morning a trade insight on the Market Rebellion platform for basic attention token BAT. Full disclosure, I do hold BAT. I've been holding this for a long time. If you watch this show, you probably have heard me talk about it on several occasions. I'm using Brave browser. As you can see, I have been using it for quite some time now, and I love it. But, the reason why I published a trade insight this morning has nothing to do with the fundamental value of BAT. For me, this was all about the technicals. And, it's very similar to Bitcoin, but I think the upside potential for BAT in the immediate couple of weeks is actually higher than the potential upside for Bitcoin. So I just want to lay out some of my thought process when I was going through this trade insight that I published this morning, which you can see here. Price was at about 1.139 when I published this. So I put an entry price of 1.14. And as you can see, it has a lot of the same things we mentioned earlier. This hammer candle that didn't pan out immediately, but then we got this TD sequential buy 9, and this is a very true doji candle right here. So the doji candle is an indication that a reversal may be imminent, and so is a TD sequential buy 9. So confluence of indicators is very important to me. So you have the confluence of these two indicators on this candle alone, and then you take into factor, this bullish hammer candle that, like I pointed out on the Bitcoin chart, has historically been a strong indication that a reversal is imminent. So, we're already starting to see some bullish price action today with this bullish engulfing candle. And that for me was confirmation that it is time to enter a long trade. And, one thing that I think is worth noting is kind of the lack of upward resistance. Essentially, all we have here is this level here at 0.1475. And beyond that, we're clear to make new all-time highs. So I think this is an interesting one technically. I like the price action we've seen to start the day. It's seen an uptick in volume as opposed to what it was seeing over the weekend, which is expected. But I just really like where this is at technically, and I think it is poised to have a very strong week. So that was my thought process for publishing this bat insight. And like I said, I have been holding it for a while, but I added to my position this morning.
If you could just explain to the folks out there who are brand spanking new to the Brave browser, you earn points for cruising the interweb. Explain how that works.
Yeah, so it's kind of implied in the name, basic attention token, and it awards you for your attention that you give to various websites. So you can choose to use your basic attention token to tip content creators. It's essentially an alternative ad revenue source. So when you use Google Chrome, and Brave browser is very similar to Google Chrome, a lot of people will install an ad blocker. This works in a similar way. It has this built-in Brave Shield, but you can accumulate, basic attention tokens for the amount of time you spend using the browser, and depending on what you use it for. So if you spend a lot of time watching certain content creators on YouTube, Trade the Chain, for example, your browser will automatically contribute back to those content creators, or you can choose to just accumulate your bet. It's on your own. So this is a really interesting business model. Brave is used by a lot of crypto developers as well. And one thing that a lot of people I saw pointing out on Twitter as well is this interesting concept of the fact that this is a rebate based token makes it less prone to the high tax restrictions of other cryptocurrencies. So if you mine crypto, you have to pay taxes on that. If you get your crypto in an airdrop, you have to pay taxes on that. But if you get your crypto through a rebate, like BAT or like StormX, that is not taxable. That is it's a rebate on the purchase as opposed to new income. Obviously, when you transfer into fiat, that becomes a taxable event, but the initial purchase itself is not taxable. So I think that's an interesting thing to take into consideration as well. But yeah, Brave browser, interesting model. One thing we look for with the altcoins is disruptive technology. And I would say that basic attention token definitely fits that bill because, they have solid tech, but also a somewhat disruptive model with this new basic attention program as opposed to traditional ad models. So definitely interesting. If it's not on your radar, I recommend you check it out.
Very cool.
If you're-
Go ahead, CJ. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No.
That's it. No, okay. I was going to say, CJ, let's head on over to Turkey, and see what's happening over there, because I believe today a second Bitcoin exchange has gone bust. This one not because anybody stole the money like last week's, but because it's just financial issues. What are we looking at here? And one, by the way, would the guy at Thordex, he flew to Albania with $2 billion of people's money, I heard.
That is correct. That is correct.
And you first of all, I just want to say that one of the things that came out last week was Turkey actually hadn't banned cryptocurrency. Okay, they banned intermediaries as far as money flow into cryptocurrency, or it had to do with like intermediary fiat controllers. But everybody thought they banned cryptocurrency. They didn't ban cryptocurrency. We actually had a flood of members, Trade the Chain members, who came to us and were like, "Dude, I live in Turkey. There's no ban here. I can transfer my money back and forth between my bank and the exchanges." Now, shortly after this comes out, you have a $2 billion theft, rug pull, for lack of a better term, and this brings into the whole regulatory argument again, and things like that. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on what maybe countries can do better, or what these operators are thinking. Just some bar talk on it.
Yeah, this is a crazy story, right? I mean, crypto is full of crazy stories. But the thing, you make a good point, Alex. Like, crypto wasn't banned in Turkey, but if you're an exchange operator in Turkey, I mean, you are literally at the will of the government. They froze their bank accounts. They had no option other than to, flee the country. And I don't know if there's too much that we can take away from this. That's something that has been a fear in the back of crypto holders' minds for a long time, as if central government step forward and ban cryptocurrency. And, if Turkey can't ban cryptocurrency, I don't think that, a government like the United States could ban cryptocurrency. But the fact that, they could make these exchange intermediaries shut down their operations, almost overnight, that is definitely a scary thought. I think the only thing that maybe other governments around the world could take away from this is, just lay out more regulatory clarity coming into it. Don't let these exchanges get up to $2 billion in funds managed before you lay down some regulation, because you're essentially forcing them to, circumvent the legal system and run away with clients' funds. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Turkey, obviously, it's not a country where you want to be running a crypto exchange, to say the least.
Has its own geopolitical worries.
Yeah. So,
Well, I mean, not for nothing. I was over in Istanbul maybe 6 months ago now, and it is a very Bitcoin friendly place. That's for sure. It was cool seeing the storefronts of Bitcoin shops and stuff like that. Obviously, they have their own problems with their currency, the lira, and so there's a lot of adoption and buyers of crypto over there. But all right, guys, any last minute wrap up thoughts here? What are we gonna do? What do we give it? Let's pick something to do for this weekend. Let's cover a really cool coin. Let's say Wednesday. What do you want to cover? Pick one for the viewers. Give them a heads up. CJ's talking about a lot of positive Solana based action.
SRM Serum, I don't own it, but it was up 40% earlier. A lot of projects on Solana have really been taking off, and Solana has been climbing as well. So maybe that's worth covering. Yeah,
well, we just covered Sol the other, I believe it was last week. We covered them, so maybe we hit up Serum on Wednesday. We'll do our homework, folks. We'll take a look at it and bring it to you. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you guys for watching. Again, if you aren't a subscriber, please do subscribe. We do a few cool things here and there. Yesterday, I dropped a video actually with Makara Roundtable Series with Jesse Proudman, CEO, founder of Makara, the SEC's first SEC registered cryptocurrency robo-advisor for the masses, for the everyday person. Actually, really, really great interview. So check that out if you can. Smash the like on your way out the door, and visit marketrebellion.com/crypto and tradethechain.com. Thanks a lot, folks. We will see you tomorrow.